Alright guys, today you're learning about the area of a triangle. So we have a specific formula that we use. This is area equals 1/2 base times height. So the B stands for your base. The height stands for H. This is the one that I normally use, but this is the same exact thing. You can do base times height and divide it by 2, whichever one you prefer. So obviously here's a picture of my triangle. My height is right there. It's normally a dotted line going from the point of the triangle to the base, and then that whole bottom side length is your base. I know y'all could read, but here we've got some congruent figures, which means they have the same shape and size. A parallelogram can be formed by two congruent triangles. Since congruent triangles have the same area, the area of a triangle is 1/2 the area of the parallelogram. And we'll actually get to parallelograms later on in the year. Alright, so let's look at this first example. It says find the area of the triangle. So in order to find your height and your base, you need to use the grid. So by counting, if you go up 1, 2, 3, 4, you find that your height is 4. And then your base is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So your base is 6. So exactly like what they said. You're going to plug that base and height into your formula. So you have area equals 1/2 base times height. Your 1/2 never changes, so you always have A equals 1/2 times my base, which was 6, times my height, which was 4. Now all you have to do is just multiply. So 1/2 times 24, which is 6 times 4. And then 1/2 of 24 is 12. So the area of that triangle is 12 square units. You can write it like this as well. So 12 units with the 2 as an exponent. So that is 12 square units. Okay, go ahead and flip over. Example number 2. You've got a picture of your triangle. Your base is 12.1. The height is this dotted line. So 6.4 is your height. Okay. So again, you have your formula 1/2 base times height. So we're just plugging in or replacing B with 12.1 and H with 6.4. So then you multiply 12.1 times 6.4 and you get 77.44. And then half of that is 38.72. So your area is 38.72 square meters. Area is always calculated in square units, so it's very important that you tell me your answer is square meters or square inches or square feet, whatever the units are. You have to add that square on there. Alright, so looking at example A. First, I need to find my base and my height. So my base is going to be the bottom. So it's basically what the triangle is sitting on. But remember, it's not always what it's sitting on, because in this case my triangle was flipped upside down. Your base is just that flat side. So example A, my base is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My height, remember, that is normally the dotted line that starts at the point. So in this case, your height is right here. So your height is 1, 2, 3. I'm going to come over here and do my work in the margin, so we have plenty of room. So again, I want to copy down my formula. So my formula is area equals 1/2 base times height. My 1/2 never goes away. My base we said was 6, so I'm going to plug in 6 for B, and then my height was 3. Ooh, you scared me. Sorry, Miss Lee came in and scared me to death. Okay, where was I? Up here. 1/2 times 6 times 3, so 6 times 3 is 18. Half of 18 is 9. You can totally do all of this in one step if you want to. You do not have to do 6 times 3 and then take 1/2 of that. So my answer is 9 square units. Right? Example B. Running out of room here. My base in this case is 9, so that's your B. 7 is your height. So you're plugging that into area, which equals 1/2 base times height. 1/2 times base, my base is 9. My height is 7. So then 1/2 times 9 times 7 is 31.5 square feet. Alright, on to finding missing dimensions. So in this case, I was given my base and my height, and all I was doing was find the area. Now you're going to be given the area and one of the side lengths, and you have to find the other. So example 3, I've got a triangle over here. It tells me that A equals 24 centimeters squared. So that is my area. I don't know what the base is, but I do know that the height is 6 centimeters. So you still are using that same exact formula, A equals base times height, or 1/2 base times height, or in this case they did base times height divided by 2. I'm going to go ahead and write over here the 1/2 base times height, just in case that's what you prefer, because it's definitely what I prefer. We're just taking A and we're taking H and we're plugging them in. So in this case I'm solving for B, so it's no different than solving for any other variable. So A is 24, so 24 equals 1/2. Base is what I don't know, so I'm leaving B. And then H I know is 6. So I have 24 equals 1/2 B times 6. You need to go ahead and multiply your 1/2 times 6 first. So on this side, I'm left with 3B. And then now you have just a simple one-step equation. So in order to solve for B, you're going to divide both sides by 3. So B equals 8. This is just your base, so it is not in square units. It is simply just in centimeters. So 8 centimeters is what your answer would be. Okay. So you're just plugging in for whatever letters you know. If you know H and you know A, plug them in for A and H. But if you don't know H and you know the area in the B, you just plug in A and B. So let's look at example C. And I'm going to do that over here in the margin again because they don't leave you much room. So I've got my formula, A equals 1/2 base times height. My area is given to me. It's 40 meters squared. So I'm plugging in 40 for A. My 1/2 stays the same. My base I don't know, so that's going to stay a B. But then my height is that 8 that's in the middle of your triangle. So height is 8. Alright, so 40 equals 1/2 of 8 would be 4. So 4B. And then to solve for B, I'm going to divide both sides by 4. So B equals 10. Remember that this is just 10 meters, so you would want to tell me that your answer is 10 meters. It's not squared in this case, because it is just your base. Alright, example D. I have an area of 72, I have a base of 12, and I have a height of H. So, let's see, I can probably do this one right here. A equals 1/2 base times height. Again, A I know is 72, so I'm plugging in 72 for A. 1/2 stays there. My base is 12. And then my height I don't know. So you want to go ahead and multiply on the right side first. So you have 72 equals 6H. And that's 6 times H, so to get rid of the 6, I'm doing the opposite of dividing. Or opposite of multiplication, which is dividing. So H equals 12. And again, my answer is not just 12. You have to tag those units on there. So this would be 12 yards. Alright, flipping over to the next page. Example 4, it's already done for you, so you really just need to read and look at the steps. It says the front of a camping tent has the dimensions shown. How much material was used to make the front of the tent? So area is basically however much can fit inside of that triangle. So if you're looking to try to find the outside of that tent, you need to find all of this, so everything that's inside of that triangle. So that's why you need the base and the height. So you're multiplying 1/2 base times height. Base is 5, height is 3. 1/2 times 15 is 7.5. So they need 7.5 square feet of material to cover that tent. Alright, normally I would have you do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 by yourself, but in this case, because I'm not teaching to a class, I guess I'm going to go ahead and do them with you so that you can check your answers. Alright, so find the area of each triangle. You've got to count. So my base is 1, 2, 3, 4. My height is 3. So A equals 1/2 base times height. Plugging in for B, my base is 4. Height is 3. So 1/2 times 4 times 3 is 6 units squared. Oh, we could put that here. Okay, moving on to number 2. You always want to copy that formula down. So 1/2 base times height. 1/2 stays there. My base is 12. My height is 8. So you're just plugging them in for those variables. 1/2 times 12 times 8 is 48. So your area is 48 square feet. And then number 3, you have a triangle that looks really funny, looks different, but they do go ahead and tell you that that height is 11.25. Your base is still 15.6. So nothing's really changing here. That 1/2 base times height. Base we said was 15.6. Height is 11.25. So when you multiply all 3 of those numbers together, you get 87.75. So your area of that triangle is 87.75 square meters. All right, number 4, you're finding the base. So you're given the area, you're given the height, which is 6. So you have to solve for B. So you're still using A equals 1/2 base times height, but you know the area is 21, so you're plugging in 21 for A. Your B is what you're trying to solve for. Your height is 6. So now you have 21 equals 3B, and then solving for B, that means you're dividing both sides by 3, so B equals 7. So your answer, your base, is 7 units, which is inches, so 7 inches. And last, problem number 5. Consuela made a triangular paper box as shown. What's the area of the top of the box? Alright, so this base, this 10 centimeters, is the base of the back of the box, but that's still the base of the front of the box where we're looking at. So this is still 10. Your base is still 10. Your height is this 9 centimeters that they're talking about in the middle of that triangle. So height is 9, base is 10. You want to find the area of the top of the box, so this lighter shaded triangle. So A equals 1/2 base times height. Don't forget that formula. Base we said is 10. Height is 9. So when you multiply all three of those numbers together, you get 45. So the area is 45 centimeters squared. That's a bad circle. Alright, hopefully this makes a little bit more sense. If you get stuck in a problem, look back at all these examples that I've done for you. You also have the examples in the notes that were printed for you that I didn't do, that the printer did for you. Okay, so you've got problems I did and problems that they did for you to look back at. So you shouldn't have a problem completing the rest of this package. So your classwork homework is the rest of this, so it should be numbers 1 through 12. So it's not that bad. Make sure that you're showing all of your work. I want to see where you're writing that formula, A equals 1/2 base times height, every single time. And every answer, if you're finding area, you should have square units. If you're finding the base or the height of a triangle, you still should have your units on there. They're just not squared. So make sure that you're putting units on there. Make sure you're writing your formula. And make sure you're showing all of your work.